Welcome, everyone. We're just gonna give folks another minute or two to log in and get themselves set up. If you're already here, welcome. We're so happy to have you join us. Feel free to take these extra couple of minutes to stretch, get mobile, grab some water, grab a pillow as a prop, but we'll get started in just a minute or two. And some of you are already on camera, and that's wonderful. If you're going to participate, we would love for you to be on camera, but you do not have to be if you feel uncomfortable with that. Welcome. It's so great to see people coming in and joining on this lovely Friday. Feel free to let us know where you're joining us from in the chat, because I know this is a very global event. If you can't tell from my accent, I'm in the US, I'm in Washington, DC, but I know that we have friends from the UK, from Germany, from many other countries. Yeah, I see the UK represent. Asheville, yes, Colleen. Nice. Oh, Texas, UK. Loving the range so far. Oregon, oh, so it's maybe the earliest. Oh, we've got some early West Coast participants. You guys are getting this in before the workday even begins. All right. Lots of UK folks, great. We'll give it one more minute as people start to trickle in. Awesome. Really glad to see that so many of you were able to join. I hope this is a welcome break from your day. This is not a set. I'm also joining from my living room and taking a break from my work day. So welcome. We'll start to get started even as people join and log in. And as I mentioned, you're welcome to turn your video on because this will be a fairly interactive class. My camera will be on, but if you prefer to stay off camera, you're welcome to. You can stay for the whole time, part of the time, whatever works. Just know that this is going to be recorded, but it'll mostly be myself and Colleen, so you can feel free to do whatever you need to do. We do ask that you stay muted in the beginning, just for the sake of everybody's speakers, I guess, but then you are more than welcome to unmute once the class starts, and if you have any questions, and feel free to use the chat to communicate with us anyway. So welcome everyone to our 16 Days of Activism event today, which is a self-defense workshop with our resident expert, Colleen Daly. My name is Nisha Singh, and I'm the Global Policy and Advocacy Manager with Women for Women International, and I'm based in Washington, DC, as I said, and please do share where you're joining us from in the chat box. And so good morning from me, but good afternoon to anybody who's joining later, in a later time zone. We're so excited to be having this event to close out our 16 Days of Activism campaign. For those of you that don't know, the 16 Days of Activism is a global campaign to end violence against women in all of its forms. And there are multiple forms of violence against women, and these can include emotional, psychological, sexual violence, economic violence, and are often rooted in harmful traditional practices or the refusal of rights to women. The World Bank has reported that 35% of women have experienced this spectrum of violence across the world. And we know from the places that we work, which are fragile and conflict affected contexts, that that percentage is a lot higher. And so in places that have experienced and are recovering from conflict or forced displacement, the risk of violence to women is a lot higher. So at Women for Women International, we use a holistic approach to our programming because we're striving to reduce the incidence of violence against women by raising awareness of women's rights and also strengthening the power of the whole community to take action against it. So while our core program focuses on building women's individual social and economic power, we know that women alone are not responsible and should not be blamed for the violence perpetrated against them. And that's something that Colleen will reiterate as a premise for today's workshop as well. And so we do know that violence against women is powerfully ingrained in the patriarchal laws and cultural norms that influence women's lives, not just in the countries where we work with Women for Women, but everywhere. You all have been telling us about your experiences of security and safety, and And so we know that this is not limited to certain contexts, but where countries are recovering from conflict, violence is more of a norm across the board. And so that also results in higher incidence of violence against women. So when that violence against women is normalized through community attitudes, it means that community members, and that means men and women alike, hold those beliefs that actually justify that violence. And then it does hold women responsible for their own abuse or for avoiding that abuse and violence, and puts the burden on them to avoid violence altogether. So you don't need to take my word for it when we talk about the different challenges that face the women that we work with around the world. We've conducted research in communities across Afghanistan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Nigeria, and South Sudan that actually illustrate the different community attitudes and the policy and service implementation gaps that perpetuate the harmful attitudes I mentioned around physical domestic abuse, marital rape, and economic deprivation. So I know what you're thinking, Nisha. It sounds like we're still taking your word for it, but now you're just telling us to read those words written down, but that's not the case. It's not so. Our work and these reports in particular actually center voices and stories from women and community members where we work. So I may be on the global policy and advocacy team, but our work, our advocacy, and our approach is really led by women's experiences, led by their stories, and led by their proposed solutions to these harmful norms and practices. So anyway, that is what the 16 days of activism is all about, right? It's about us all coming together to work to address these harmful social norms and the patriarchal, legal, and political systems which normalize that violence and stigmatize us coming together to speak up against it. But for today, we are addressing personal power through this workshop. We know that we're stronger together. That's what our campaign is all about. We have a podcast about it. We have this whole campaign about it. We have actions you can take about it, which we'll share some links in the chat in case you want to stay connected to this movement. But we also know that we're stronger as individuals when we have the tools and information that help us feel more powerful in our own bodies. So that's Colleen's area of expertise. And so I'm going to stop talking in just a second to turn it over to her. But I just want to hype her a bit because she is just an amazing, amazing person. She's a fitness instructor. That's how I met her. Self-defense expert. She's a personal trainer, a martial artist, brown belt. and she's just a warrior in every sense of the word. And I've been really fortunate to learn from her in many other content. She has wonderful workshops and training sessions. She used to lead classes here in Washington, D.C., and you can check her out online and her Guerrera Feminist Fight Club. But yeah, I'm just so pleased that she's able to join us today and lead us in this workshop. And she will let us all know a little bit more about the structure for today's class and any other sort of logistics and housekeeping that'll help us all make the most of this session together. So Colleen, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Nisha, so much for the introduction. Again, my name is Colleen. Quick rundown. I'm a black belt in Fit to Fight Defensive Options, which is a system we're going to be using today. It's a self-defense system based in North Carolina. My brown belt is in 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, and then I have a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm an amateur fighter out of American Top Team in Asheville, where I compete in kickboxing, MMA, and Jiu-Jitsu. I also run the women's self-defense program at American Top Team, which is a really huge honor to coach at American Top Team. It's what I love for a lot of reasons, but actually, you know what? I have to introduce you to three more very important. I was going to say people, but they're definitely not. Currently licking his butt is Tadpole. Little lady staring out the window is Lemony. And then my old lady over here is Sabrina. They're my whole heart. They're going to be our cheerleaders for today. They're really the reason that I do anything. When I talk about, we're going to talk about this later, about learning to protect the thing you love the most in your life. This is it, guys. But the thing that I love the most about coaching self-defense for women and femmes is that, and I don't care for the word empowerment. I think that it's overused. But when you see someone coming into the room who is nervous and scared and feels down and is worried about the state of the world, and they leave with their head high, they feel confident, they feel strong, they feel powerful. There's nothing like being a part of that process. It is important before we get started to establish a few key rules. The first is that you must take care of yourself. All right. Statistics show that up to 80%, if not more, of folks in this class have experienced violence of some kind, whether that be domestic, sexual, whatever it may be. And some of the content that we do might be triggering to you. That's completely normal. Okay. There is nothing wrong with saying, I am feeling a certain kind of way right now. So please feel free to take a step back, acknowledge what's happening to you. I encourage that you have both an internal and an external resource that you can reach out to at any time. So an internal resource might be a mantra for you, something that you can really hold on to that makes you feel safe in your body. For me, when I'm doing this with another person, it's I'm safe, I can tap at any time. I'm safe, I can tap at any time. Because we're not working with other people, tapping isn't as relevant. But essentially, when you're working in a martial arts setting, it's where you literally tap the other person and it says, I'm done. We're done. And a more metaphorical way, you're welcome to tap at any point during this course. You can say, I need a break right now so that I'm safe. I can tap at any time might be a useful mantra for you. An external resource might be something that, some resource that's really helpful to you in the moment. So perhaps your therapist allows you to text them at any time. You might have a partner who makes you feel better in the moment, a friend. For me, it's 3, furry little loves. Whatever it is, something that means a lot to you. The second rule is that you're not allowed to apologize. Okay, so when we have like question and answer session, for example, people will be like, oh, I'm sorry, I just couldn't understand. You're all new to this, I assume. Maybe some of you are not new to this, but most of you statistically are new to this. You shouldn't feel sorry for learning something new, right? You're allowed to be bad at things. And to be honest, most of you will be bad at it today. That's a part of the process. Right? That's nothing to be ashamed of. So please don't apologize for where you are in a very long and difficult process. You probably didn't do well the first day you learned how to read. Okay. So protect yourself. Don't apologize. And the reason that we don't apologize is because self-defense is about taking up and maintaining space. And when you apologize and make yourself small, you do the exact opposite of that. You're a detriment to your own strength. Right? So please, please, please stand up for yourself in this way and own that. We're going to go ahead and get started unless anyone has any questions, and feel free to put them in chat. I've got the chat on. So if you don't feel like speaking up, that's totally fine. But as folks potentially put questions into the chat, I ask that if you're willing, you please put your cameras on. Partially for my sake, it's really kind of terrible to teach to a room of gray blocks. And 2, I'm going to try to encourage you and correct you, right? Those are things, this is a two-way street. Oh, there we go. They show up. And that's what we're going for, right? This is an interpersonal dynamic, right? All right. So seeing no questions, comments, suggestions, or concerns, seeing many more faces in front of me, which pleases me immensely. We'll go ahead and get started. So friends, what I want you to do is find some space for yourself where you can move forward, back, left, right, and just a place that's comfortable. You're going to stand with your feet shoulder width apart, stepping 1 foot forward and 1 foot back. Now, folks ask me, okay, well, which foot do you want forward and which foot do you want back? Traditionally, you want your power hand in the back. So if I'm right-handed, I want my right foot back. If I'm left-handed, I want my left foot back. Now, in a self-defense situation, that's much less important because we're going to have to be able to fight in both stances. But for the sake of today, we'll go ahead and follow that rule. I want your knuckles at your cheeks, elbows at the ribs, chin is tucked, abs are tight. To move forward, I'm going to push up the back foot, step with the front. To move backwards, I'm going to push up the front foot, step with the back. It'll look like forward, step, step, back, step, step. All right, y'all ready? On me, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Oh, we got one person with those knuckles glued. That's what I want to see. There, you knew it was you too. You knew it was you. I love it. All right. So now moving left and right. To move left, I'm going to pick the left foot, push up the right. To move right, I'm going to pick the right foot, push up the left. It'll look like left, step, step, right, step, step. On me, left, right, left, right, left, right, forward, ha! Back, left, right, forward, back, left, right. All right, excellent. So now, team, I want you to find a stable object. Maybe it's a chair, a lamp, whatever, okay? And I want you to consider where that object has arms, right? So in this example, I think that if I was sitting on the chair, my arms would be here. Does that make sense? And what I want you to do is I want you to start stepping around your objects using the same footwork we just learned, trying to stay outside the elbows, right? So you start in front, you're like, oh crap, which way to go? I get outside the elbows, right? Maybe if it's a swivelly chair, you turn it back to you and you're like, oh crap, I'm inside the elbows. And you move, you move, you move, right? Turn my chair, move around. Does that make sense? This is kind of the old COVID way. Oh, Nisha's got a plant. That's clutch. All right. So I just want you to work on circling is essentially the skill that I want you to work on. Does that make sense? Now, if you don't have an object, it's totally fine. Just make little circles around your living room or wherever you are. Cool, cool? All right, let's go. Oh, I see those circles. Good. Keep those knuckles up. Keep your elbows in. Keeping those elbows in is really important. Oh, look, we got two people. They figured it out. They're like, we're going to move around each other. Y'all smart. Excellent. All right, and time. We're going to start heading into the fun stuff. Y'all ready to learn some punches? That's the best part. That's clearly the best part. All right, team. So we're in that good stance. We've got the knuckles at the cheeks, elbows at the ribs, chin is tucked, abs are tight. To throw our jab, we're going to step on our lead foot. It doesn't need to be forward. It needs to be either in place or forward, depending on where our opponent is, right? If our opponent is in striking range, I don't need to step forward. I just need to step in place. If my opponent is out of striking range, I might have to step forward, right? For right now, we're just going to pretend that they're in striking range. So I step in place. I turn the thumb down, punching with the top two knuckles, right? These top two knuckles. And I step and I breathe. I exhale as I send that hand out. All right, let me see some jabs. Y'all ready? Remember, jab is your lead hand. So if you have your left foot back, it's your right hand. If you have your right foot back, it's your left hand. Cool, cool? This is your long one. All right, team. Jab. 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 Ooh, Victoria, you got some really dope energy. I love it. All right, jab. Yeah, jab. Gina's got a good defense, keeping those knuckles up. Jab. Good. Jab. Good. Jab. Jab. I saw somebody apologize in the chat. Tisk, tisk. Not calling you out. You're amazing. Just say you're amazing out loud so we can take away the sorries. All right. Good. All right, team. Let's look at the cross. All right. Cross. I pivot. So when I say I pivot, what does that mean? It means I literally turn my heel out. I dig into the floor. I pivot down, down, down. All right. As I do that, I use my back hand. I turn my thumb over and I extend that arm as long as I can. That's my cross, 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 cross. Cool, cool. The meanwhile, that jab hand stays glued to your head. Does that make sense? All right, team. I'll call it out. Y'all ready for the crosses? Cross. Ooh, Jane is going to kill somebody. All right, cross. 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 Good. Cross. Good. Cross. Good. Cross. Cross. Oh, y'all are going to be good at this. You're going to get bit by that bug. You're going to start training. It's going to be dope. All right, great. So now we got to talk about putting these things together. All right. So we've got our jab. We've got our cross. How do we put them together? So this is what we call a combo when we string more than one punch together. So I'm going to step on the jab and pivot on the cross. And the cool thing about this is if you think about physics, I don't know anything about physics. I only know about physics when it comes to fighting. So one of you is probably a physicist. Is any of you a physicist in the chat? Put it in the chat. I need to know what this is called. I think it's centrifugal force, but we'll find out. Okay, so as I send my shoulder out, I extend this part of my body, right? I'm in this place of extension. When I turn and I cross, I've now rotated to the back side, right? So I'm alternating one side to the other as I do this, and that creates this back and forth motion, which generates more power. I'm almost positive this is centrifugal force because it's in the Karate Kit. All right, does that make sense? So when we do this combo, we're not, left and then right. Or if you're a lefty, right and then left, right? It's got to be bum, 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 bum. You got to put some power behind it, yes? So we're going to exhale on every strike. We're going to step and pivot, right? Step and pivot, right? Step and pivot. That's what I want. I want good force and good energy. Does that make sense? So you're going to throw an I call combo. Coco, get ready, team. All right. Combo. Combo. Ooh. Victoria, dude. Clutch. That's it. Combo. Combo. Good. Combo. That's it, Cheaty. Combo. Oh, Emma's got the spunk. Combo. Good. Combo. Combo. Good. Combo. I like that Gina's punching at the camera because I feel it in my soul. I feel it coming at me. I'm scared. All right. Combo. Good. Combo. Combo. Good. All right, team. Put your hands down. Shake it out. How are we feeling? Thumbs up will do. You can put it in the chat or a thumbs up will do. Whatever speaks to your heart. Okay, cool. All right. So now, I'm sure you guys have figured this out, okay? Feeling centrifugally forceful. That's it. Oh, Nisha, of course you said that. You smart woman, you. All right. So now in a real fight, right? It's probably not. Right? That's not it. That's not what's happening, okay? As a person who has done 3 striking matches, I've done a boxing match and I've done 2 kickboxing matches that were like, you go into that ring and that girl's trying to kill you, okay? As a person who has had some, I shit you not, excuse me, I'm not lying to you. There was a woman who tried to beat me up because she was in love with my fiance. It's happened, all right? You're in that situation and you can't just throw 2 strikes and move. You got to be able to apply some force to it, put some combos in. How your feet should stand with double jabs. Ooh, okay, Gina. I'm gonna come back to what I was saying. So I think Victoria and Gina are asking the same question, which comes down to, do you know which side the jab is and which side the cross is? So remember, our jab is our lead side. This one's our cross. This is the cross. So this is the jab. This is our left hand for most of you. The cross is your right hand. So if you feel the need to use the other side, that's because you should be. All right, so we've got our jab and we've got our cross. They're 2 different hands. But if we were throwing a double jab, which is a great question, we would step on the lead foot twice. Jab, jab, right? Jab, jab. Now that's actually a combo I really love, except for I like turning it into a jab hook. So jab hook, that's my favorite. I've knocked a girl out with that one time. It was bad. If you are right-handed, you jab with the left and cross with the right. That is exactly right, Rania. Guys are picking this up. Perfect. All right. So remember, jab with the lead hand, cross with the rear hand. Cool, cool. That's that whole centrifugal force that we were talking about. Does that make sense? You can't have centrifugal force with one arm. It doesn't work. All right. All right. So where the heck was I? So you can't just throw 1 or 2 strikes and expect it to work, right? We've got to start putting stuff together. We've got to be able to string these punches into longer combinations. So we're not going to get to our flurry quite yet. I just want you all to work on sending combos, but they don't have to be so choreographed, right? It doesn't need to be left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right? It could be left, left, right, right, left, 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 right, 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 left, right, right, left, left, right. Does that make sense? Okay. So now you guys that are like, oh, shoot, I missed the crosses on the last one. This is your opportunity to use them, right? Send both that left and right hand. And I'm not going to tell you which one to throw. Okay. I just want you to work on throwing those combos. Does that make sense? All right, team. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. I see it. Oh, some of y'all be adding hooks. I'm here for it. Woo! This is not some of y'all's first rodeo. Good. All right, time. So now remember that movement that we talked about earlier and about the importance of staying outside the elbows, right? Because when you think about the elbows, if I can punch my chair and my chair can punch me, we're in a fight, right? But if I am outside my chair's elbows, I can punch my chair and my chair can't punch me. Does that make sense? So what we want to do is work on moving around and then throwing our combos, right? Moving around and then throwing our combos. Cool, cool? That makes sense? All right. So now I want you to do exactly what you just did, but work on moving around as you do it. Does that make sense? So move to the left, throw a flurry of combos. Move to the right, throw a flurry of combos. Staying in place is what sometimes gets you really hurt. Does that make sense? All right, let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I see some elbows. Let's go. Let's go. That's a little more advanced. And time. All right. So I've taught you a lot of offense so far. Let's talk about some defense. We think that's important, right? Some defense. All right. So the number one reason that people get high covers, the movement we're about to learn, is that they keep their hands off of their head. And my friends, if you get hit in your hand is going to hit you. Does that make sense? Would you rather wear a loose bicycle helmet or a tight bicycle helmet? Tight, right? Same here. And I'm saying this before we even start explaining the movement because it's the number one thing that people get wrong. And it is the number one most important thing. Your hands have to be tight to your head. I want your palm heels at your hairline, okay? And I want you to grab your head with your hands. Other hand, same thing, all right? Keep your elbows in. You want to look at people right through this teeny tiny little triangle. Does that make sense? All the while keeping your chin tucked. If someone gets through your high cover and they hit you here, okay, that's a bad time, but it's not as bad time as if somebody hit you here. Does that make sense? So you keep your chin tucked, You bring your palm heels to your hairline, grab your head, and keep your elbows closed, okay? Now, if you're in a self-defense situation, just getting to this position is really important. But if you want to really protect yourself, you have to be active. So if somebody's punching at me, I want to be deflecting the punches, right? If they throw straights to my head, I want to be here deflecting those straights. If they come across the side, I want to bring my hand up, protecting the side of my head for those hooks. Does that make sense? So it's here. We're going to work on our straights right now, okay? So straight punch, straight punch. I just bring my elbow up and across. You see that I create kind of like an overlap with my elbows. And what that is it deflects the punch. It makes it harder for it to land versus just being here and taking that punishment of that strike. Does that make sense? All right, team. So here's how we're going to do it, okay? You guys are going to get in this high cover position. You're going to keep your chin tucked, but you're going to look over your eyebrows at the camera, at me. Does that make sense? And I'm going to throw a punch at you, okay? If I punch with this hand, you're going to block with the same side. Does that make sense? If I throw this hand, you're going to block with the same side. Now, blocking across is not wrong. I've been to lots of schools that do that. The reason I like same side is if it looks like it's a straight, turns out to be a hook,
I'm watching.
I can just go from here to here, no problem. Does that make sense? So here, here, or here, here. That is what allows me to protect myself. Cool, cool. So I'm just going to throw a punch at the screen. I'm going to throw it nice and slow. You're going to be able to see it coming, right? But I want you to defend it. Does this make sense? All right. So everybody get in your high cover defense. And I just want you guys to know, if you do this properly, your hair should look like this by the end of it. Does that make sense? That's really important. Okay. So everybody ready? Thumbs up if you're ready. Okay. Ready. Good. Good. I see a lot of folks with their elbows separated. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to get that punch straight through. So keep it together and keep it down. Yep. All right. Good. And try not to turn your head because that exposes this really vulnerable spot. This is way more vulnerable than this. So rather than turning your head, dig into it. Does that make sense? All right. I almost said the S word. All right, team. Take it down. All right. So Nisha, you want me to go until, yes, that's the hair I want. All right. You want me to go until 11:45. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I think it's time for our final drill, and then I'll open it up to questions for me before you all give questions to Nisha. Does that sound good, Nisha? Or is questions for me included in the 15 minutes?
I think you can run up until like 55. We won't need more than 5 minutes to close. So.
Oh, cool. Then we have more time. All right. So now let's talk about those hooks. So for example, most of you, when you think of bar fights or you think of violence on the street, they're not coming straight at you. They're not classically trained. They're throwing these big, wild punches, right? And being here isn't gonna help that, right? So what we have to do is defend the side of our head. So what we're going to do is take that hand, you're going to comb all the way back. You're going to grab the back of your head. And here, you can take a lot of force. Does that make sense? So one of my hands is here, one of my hands is here. Let's say they go to hit the other side. We're here. We're defending on this side. Does that make sense? So chin is tucked the whole time. We're here. Maybe we go back to center, right? Maybe we've got some stuff going on here. We come back to this side. Does that make sense? All the while, you still want to keep this tight here when you move here. Does that make sense? Because this is still going to be difficult to hit me frontwards. because I've got this hand here and this hand here. Does that make sense? So always close that gap in front of your face. Always keep that chin tucked. Does that make sense? So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to punch at you. All right, I'm going to go around and you're going to defend on that side. And again, try not to move with it too much. It's actually one of those things where you could go into it and kind of, why do we not have a physicist in this group? Guys have failed me. Where you stop the force of the strike. Does that make sense? Yeah, that one. Conversion of angular momentum. Bam. Okay, but we want to stop the force of the strike as it comes in. Does that make sense? So I'm going to throw these big looping punches and you're going to go almost into it, right? Here. Does that make sense? All right, team. Ready?
This is it. Seriously?
Good. How's that feeling? Good. And just a quick thing. I think different people have different schools of thoughts about absorbing it versus going into it. Right. But what I don't want is you going all the way across and you're exposing the back of your head. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So now we're going to put it all together. I'm going to throw straights. I'm going to throw hooks. I'm going to throw these big, nasty overhands. And your job is to defend them. Does that make sense? All right, team. Ready? Okay, here we go. Good time. All right, team. Now you may be like, holy crap, I didn't get very many of those right. That's totally normal, okay? Day one, you're not going to get them all right. That is a part of the process, right? And what drives me nuts about, I'm not going to lie, it's usually gyms that are dominated by men, is that people start really fast and they don't let new people learn. But you learn by being able to watch somebody's chest, watch their rotation, and start to recognize and put in your brain's, just like muscle movement. Well, your brain doesn't move, but like initiating the muscle movement for other parts of your body. Oh, if this person turns this way, I know this strike is coming. And if this person turns this way, I know this strike is coming. And if you feel a little step forward, I know it must be a jab, right? Whatever it is, you have to start that process slowly. So if you're like, I only got 20%, I'm gonna die, you're fine, right? Well, you might die, I don't know, but like probably 80 years down the line, right? Just be cognizant that this is a process, right? You're not going to learn self-defense in one Zoom call. There's so much more to it. I honestly think grappling is the most important piece of self-defense, and there's no way we can do that over Zoom. So just acknowledge, like, this is a learning process. I'm okay. All right. So now I want you to grab water, take care of yourself for like 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back and do our final drill. All right, on 3, 1, 2, 3.
While everyone is resting, I just want to acknowledge the comments in the chat that say they want to catch the end of this or take more classes. So just want to let everyone know that this is being recorded. So for people who did register, we will share that recording. So you can do this as many times as you want and fast forward, clear through all of my talking to the good stuff. So you can bring your family and friends in on the fun as well through the holiday season.
And also, I saw some people in Arlington. We offer self-defense classes in downtown DC.
Yes. Live classes. Let me put that link in the chat for the live classes, which are really excellent. I've had the good fortune of attending and trying to teach side by side with these classes back in the day.
Isn't that fun? If you're looking for online resources, well, actually, I'll put it in the chat, won't I? I'll be helpful and give you a link. I am so old.
Did you just say you are so old?
I am so old because I was
What?
like, I was typing in like the YouTube.
I think it's up there with not saying sorry. Is you're not old. You're,
No,
you're
I am
experienced
old.
and wise.
As soon as you hit 30 and you're gray as me, like those of you, oh, who writes the Facebook? That's right, Facebook.
Oh, and Colleen, if you can put in the chat how we can find you as well.
I know the millennials in the group will want my Instagram.
And I'll put your website.
And then I'll put my email address.
And guys, take advantage of this break because I think I know what the final drill is. And
it's fun. Okay. So Sabrina's getting her pillow ready. I don't know if you can tell, but Sabrina's getting her pillow ready over there. She was just gnawing at it.
Sabrina's an inspiration.
Yeah.
Colleen,
Yes.
you were sending those direct message to me. You didn't send them to
Oh no,
everyone.
I'm sorry. I mean, fuck. Excuse me. I have to do a burpee. Okay, hold on. Okay, I have an injury. That was a terrible idea, but that's the punishment for using the S word in my. I'll send them as soon as we're done. All right. Well, thanks, Joe. You now have my information, and we can be best friends. Okay. So thanks, Gina. I told you I'm old. Okay. So now we're gonna get hype and we're gonna get ready, right? So here is the deal. We can't adequately do what we call a flurry in the air, right? You can, but it's just like without that feedback, it's not quite as effective. But we're gonna try, okay? So what we're gonna do, everybody get your pillows. Ma'am, I need this. Thank you. Okay. Is we're gonna do 3 things, and we're gonna rotate between them. All right. So the first one is we're gonna throw a flurry of punches, and the thing here is it's exactly what we've been working on. This jab, cross, jab, cross, jab, cross, jab, 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 cross, jab, cross, cross, jab, cross, as fast as you can. The thought process here is that what you lack in skill, you must make up for in aggression. Beyond that, aggression is an incredible tool at dissuading a potential attacker. Okay? Aggression is huge. I personally think aggression is 50% of the battle. Does that make sense? So skill is really important, but aggression to me is huge. So being aggressive, taking up space, being demanding of protecting your body, all of those things are essential. So that's what we're going to embody in these flurries. Right? We do that. Then I'm going to have you block as if someone's doing exactly what you just did to you. Okay? You're gonna do that as fast as you can, right? For 15 seconds. Then you're gonna get down on the floor or on the couch or wherever, and you're gonna beat up your cushion, right? Should be here. Can you see me on my cushion? Yes. As hard as you can. And then you get 15 seconds off. Okay? Are you hype? Are you so ready? All right, team. You're going to do this 4 times. Okay? Oh, I'm tired now. All right. Tis everyone ready? Actually, we might make it 20 seconds. All right. Starting with your standing flurry. In 3, 2, 1, and go. Everything that you got. Imagine some like Eyes the Tiger stuff, right? Everything. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, let's go. 5 seconds. And block. Block your leg on it. Block. Keep that chin tucked. Guard that forehead. Get on that pillow and go. Oh, Nisha's scary. Rest. 20 seconds. All right, we're going to get started with that standing flurry here in a second. Yes, everybody hype? Everybody ready? Five seconds. Prepare yourself. 3, 2, 1, and go. Three, 2, 1, and block. Block. Like your life depends on it. Move your arms, not your head. Move your arms, not your head. There you go. I see a lot of you with exposed foreheads. Keep it tight. Palm heels to your hairline. Get on the ground. Get that pillow. Go. Pillow smash. All right, break. All right, team. You're halfway there. We're tired, yes? Well, you got 2 more. Flurry, go. Standing flurry, let's go. Don't kick the cat. Okay, go. All right, defense. Block. Good. And get on that pillow. Go. All right, break. All right, y'all ready for the last one? Get the most intense song ever stuck in your head. Let's go. And flurry, go. And block, 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 block. Seconds. That's it. Everything you got, team. This is it. Time. All right. Grab water, bring it back. This fellow is acting for mercy.
That is my favorite part of all of your classes.
Thank you. I enjoy it. All right, team. What questions do you have? And like, there's no, like, it's like, you know how everybody says there's no stupid question. Well, like sometimes, but rarely, right? Especially when it comes to something you don't know, there's very few stupid questions. So please, please, please. Thank you. Feel free to ask them anything you want. Oh, thank you, Victoria. I try.
Colleen did offer the full like workshop because we got like a taste today, but there's a whole series where you learn. My favorite thing about Colleen's classes is that you're not just learning the like, you know, sometimes you go to classes and they're like, oh, well, if somebody does this, then you do this. But it's very much about strategies and tactics. So for example, Julia's question is a good one, Colleen. I don't know if you want to address a couple of these strategy questions in the chat.
Yeah. So how do you get in the stance when somebody attacks you on the street? It really depends on how they attack you. Are they going for a double leg? Are they trying to tackle you? Are they trying to hit you? Right? So for example, if someone's throwing that big overhand right and you're trying to get into stance, what you're going to do is, well, not always, but the way that I usually handle it is as the strike comes, you get into stance as you block the punch with two arms right here, right? And then you're in your stance, you can do whatever you want. Does that make sense? If somebody is going for like a double leg or something, they're trying to grab your lower body, you're actually going to sprawl on top of them. So instead of getting into a traditional fighting stance, you're just going to fall like this and stay on top of them. I wish Brian was here because I could show it on him and it'd be awesome. Maybe he'll show up. Oh, it's here. Yeah, hold on one second.
Okay, we're going to have a live demo, so this will be great. This also often happened during our seminars, was that Brian was an innocent bystander until we pulled him in.
Yeah, my poor Brian. But he's like, the nice thing about him is he's a big, scary dude. So you like get a good sense about how these things work.
And we don't feel bad for him.
We don't feel bad for him unless he gets kicked in the groin, which happens a lot. Okay, so the question is how to get into stance when you're attacked. And what I was saying is that there's different kinds of attacks and therefore different. So if you throw like an overhand at me, I'm getting into stance as I press across. So if you see my legs, I now have this forward and back thing. And then I can engage in different strategies. If Brian is trying to grab me and take me down, I'm going to fall on top of him, which is not going to put me in a fighting stance. But as I pushed off, I would get into one. Does that make sense? The next question was, what is the quickest way to prevent a kick to the stomach, lower body, anything simple? All right. So if Brian hits me in my lower body, right? If he throws like a teep kick, I would honestly just block it with my elbow. I don't know if you've ever kicked someone's elbow, but it sucks. Okay. I've done it many times before and it's terrible. There's also like a fancier kind of like Muay Thai way of he kicks, right? I kind of catch it, but I don't, unless you're really good at it, I don't think that's a great idea for self-defense, but it's an option, right? But if you kick it, right, you can start doing other stuff. And then to the lower body, it depends on the strike. Traditionally, I would check like a round kick, or if he's throwing to my upper body, I would block here. If he's throwing to my groin, which I think happens less, I would just bring across my leg. I hope that answers that question. Oh, thank you, Gina. I tried very hard. And while we have Brian here, now's a really good time to ask questions because I can show on him. So if you're like, well, like, especially if I think some of us are like, oh, well, I've experienced this and I would like to know a way out of it. Like, this is a great opportunity to get us an idea of what that stuff would look like. So if you have any specific questions, literally, I got a big man right here that we can show on. Rawr.
Colleen, I think one common thing that we always hear is like, you know, the tips, the stupid tips that you get is just like, oh, like wear your hair a certain way so people don't grab your hair. But I think generally somebody trying to immobilize your upper, like your neck or your hair or whatever, like what is the sort of tactic there?
So the option that I was taught is the first thing is if he grabs my hair, right, to go with it, right? If I pull against him, it's gonna cause me more pain, right? And as he pulls me in, I'm gonna attack him by throwing a palm heel strike to his groin. Now, there's a bunch of different approaches to that. And I actually, that's one of the things that I want to learn more of because it's a question that I get all the time, but that's the strategy that I know right now. That being said, if he grabs my hair, right, I do this groin strike, he lets go. This is how close we are. So you better be able to wrestle. If you don't know how to wrestle, you're having a bad day right here, right? So maybe I take this hand and I get this 2-on-1 position and I trip him down, or I take him to the pinch and I take him down. There's a million different things that you're going to be able to do if you continue training. But it's like you have to keep training answer.
Is that a good answer to this other question about using someone's strength against them?
Oh gosh. Okay, that's so the real answer is jujitsu. The real answer is jujitsu. So jujitsu is a sport that was founded in Japan, perfected in Brazil, and the entire purpose of it is that it kind of it's you can't say this definitively, but it's not that strength and size don't matter, because they absolutely do. Like, I'm a brown belt, he's a brown belt. If he and I get in a fight, he's going to win 99% of the time. But me as a female brown belt who's 150 pounds, I'm going to do just fine against a guy his size who doesn't know what he's doing. Does that make sense? So jiu-jitsu, it's about leveraging the other person and using their energy against them. So if he pushes into me, actually, we'll show one. Can you get in my guard? So, for example, when we talk about sexual violence specifically, and if this is triggering for anybody, just a quick trigger warning, we're just going to show you ways to get out of it. We're not going to show like anything too graphic, right? But if he's in my guard, which is, can you guys see?
Yes.
Which is a common position, right? So I could turn, and as he comes into me, I could push off of him, right? If he's trying to like choke me or something, I can take my legs over his head and, oh, did that hurt? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. And I can tap him out, right? Depending on what he's doing, he's reaching for me, he's trying to hit me, right? I can pull him into this triangle and hi, lady, and I can choke him out, right? If one of the options is I sit up and I bring him over and now I'm on top. And these are all things that you can do, thank you, baby, as a smaller person with jiu-jitsu. So jiu-jitsu is really big. Going back to physics, are you aiming to take the other person's balance? Yes. Okay, so baby, if you want to take your socks off for this one.
Serious now.
It's serious. We're going to do single legs. Okay. So, for example, something that I've been working on, can you put that foot forward? Is, let's say, right, I push and I get into the single leg, right? And I push him and then I can take him down. or whatever it may be, right? As I tap, as I push him forward, I'm pulling his legs out from under him.
Mhm. Amazing. These are really wonderful questions. I know it's like not enough to have one class because everyone can imagine a different scenario. But Colleen, as always, thank you so much. Please do put in the chat different ways that people can find you. We'll include it in the email with the recording as well. I know folks have to jump for lunch or for meetings, but thank you so much for taking time out of your Friday to build a little bit of personal power and a little bit of collective power together via this class. Please do feel free to stay connected with Colleen and with us at Women for Women and whatever your local movement to end violence looks like in your community. Everything counts. And so we hope you go on with the rest of your day feeling a little stronger in yourself. And if you have any questions at all for us as individuals or for our organization, please feel free to reach out. Colleen, any final words?
Yes, and I'm gonna make this really quick because usually it's a long thing. This is a bonobo on the Guerrera shirt, and bonobos are a matriarchal ape society in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And the female bonobos maintain power because they work together, whereas the male bonobos act as individuals. And the rate of violence against female bonobos is almost zero because whenever a male tries to commit violence against a female bonobo, they bind together and protect her. That's the entire purpose of this. It's not just about us as individuals, it's about us as a community of women and femmes standing up for ourselves and each other.
That's exactly right. And I love that story so much. And if you are in the DC area, you can check out Influx, which is a studio that offers regular classes. But in the DC and Asheville area, Colleen also offers 2-day workshops where you really get into the groundwork, the strategies, different combinations. So wherever you are, we look forward to staying connected and have a wonderful Friday and rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Colin. Bye.